Hey everybody, welcome back to the Grognards Corner, and we are here taking a look at part 2 of my look at Space Infantry from Lock and Load Publishing. We've actually gone a few turns in, and just wanted to update everybody on how the gameplay is going and give some good ideas on how exactly the mechanics of the game run. Now we started off with the first scenario card. I didn't want to go and jump into a campaign yet or anything, and basically the objective is this one is that I need to get in and I need to go ahead and investigate the 3 laboratories with my unit of Space Infantry, and basically once I do that, then I will go ahead and I win the scenario. There are a couple minor small special rules about it. The first one, you've got these little locked door symbols here. Basically, anytime your unit moves next to one of these, you have to draw a number, and if it's a 3 or less, that route is impassable. So if you'll kind of notice, you've got you start off down here, and then you can move to here. And one of the security or one of the laboratory nodes is right here. It's an easy 1, 2, 3 jump to there, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump to there. So hopefully, don't know if that's going to be locked until you get there. So you're kind of taking a chance. If it ends up being locked, then you spend more time going around. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for, and kind of plot out how you want to get through things. Also, you kind of really, when you start off the scenario and you get a chance to start building up your squad, you really need to take a look at what all the skills are required to get through it. Advance is kind of a common one. Pretty much all combat teams have that. Then you've got security, computer, repair, security, demolition, science. So you need to take a look at the units you have available to purchase and kind of tailor the platoon around what skills you're going to need. So let's take a look at what I bought. I was allowed 110 points to buy my team with, and I really I don't think I spent all of them. But so what you have first of all is you've got your squad leader. You get him for free. If you notice, he's got a command 4, communications 3, intelligence 3, which is not bad. Unfortunately, with looking over the board, we're not really needing any of those skills. Command, though, command's always useful. You can use command all the time. So I went ahead and decided on picking up three fire teams, and we started off with Fire Team A, which is fire and melee, which is of course obviously used in combat. And then advance, well, we know there's a lot of advanced ones, so that was so we like that, so that one will come in handy. And then we picked up a shotgunner because I just think it's really cool that shotguns have their own units in the game. Plus, they also have 2 melee strikes, a 3 and a 4, basically representing the shotguns at very close range. Fire at 5, not real good because shotguns aren't really good long-range weapons. And advance 4, which is okay, but again, we need advances, so let's go ahead and grab him. And then I picked up an assault team, which is kind of a different kind of the opposite of the fire team. They've got a fire 4, melee 3, advance 3. Which the fire team is a fire 3, 4, melee, advance 3. So I actually ended up with a little bit more close support than I had planned on, but then again, I wanted to get those advances, so that was always good. And looking at the points, that was 3, 4, 5, 70 points right there. And then I went ahead and picked up some specialists. So we picked up the scientist for 10 points. Now he's got science, search, computer, and melee. And if we noticed, we do have a couple science nodes, so that'll come in handy. Search, not so much. Computer, there is a computer node, so that'll come in handy as well. Melee, not so good at melee, but you got to remember he's an individual unit, not a fire team of guys. So we also went ahead and picked up a demolitionist just because, well, at the base core things, I like blowing things up. There is one demolitionist node that we have, and so I figured, he's only 10 points, demolition. Plus he's got repair and security, and there's repair and there's security nodes, so he'll come in handy with that. Melee 4, he's a little bit better than the scientist in melee. And I picked up the technician with repair, security, and computer. Again, repair, security, both ones that are used in nodes. So hey, that's another good one. I had another 10 points to spend. I probably could have grabbed another technician. I didn't, just because, whatever. You also get 9 resources. These are basically just little things that you can tweak out your squad a little bit more. And we have, I've actually spent one in the game so far. So you've got M's, which are med packs, and G's, which are grenades, I's, which are intelligence, D, which is demolition packs. And basically you can use these at any time, and they do different little things. A med pack will automatically heal you. Intelligence will give you 2 successes to get through a node. Demolition pack obviously will allow you to beat a demolition skill test, but you need to have someone with the demolition skill to use it, so that's why I went ahead and brought the demolitionist. The forces that we're facing off against, I just randomly picked mercenary forces. So let's take a look at what's happened so far. We went ahead and started off at start, and I needed to get 4 skill points in advance. It took me like 2 or 3 turns to get it. Yeah, I've got 3 guys that gave me advance, but I was just drawing bad numbers. So I made it into here after a couple 3 turns, and then 1A, I went ahead and drew for a random event in there. Did not get the random event. And then I decided I was going to go ahead and move into building 2 first, or building 1 first. And to move into there, I needed advance 2, which actually was a little bit easier for me to get in there. And once I moved into there, I went ahead and pulled my random. Actually did get a random event on the A column, and I pulled for a single soldier. And the one soldier kind of faced off against all my fire teams, and he actually managed to wound one of my guys before I was able to gun him down. And so I went ahead and burned a med pack just to heal the wound point real quick. And I decided to take a risk to keep advancing forward to try to see if we could get past this locked door here. Advance of 1, that was real easy to get. I got into here. The string is a 1 or 2. I didn't roll the random, so there was no event there. So I made it into there, and I was lucky enough to draw, I think I drew like a 5, so that door was unopened. So it took me a security 2 to get there. I tried 1 turn with security. Unfortunately, I have 1 guy with 2 guys with security. One at a skill 5, one at a skill 3. Didn't want to waste a lot of time with it, so I went ahead and burned one of my intelligence resources to give me my 2 successes, and I went ahead and slid right in there real easy. Now, if you take a look at this one, this string is a 2+ B. So on a random number of 2 or better, I was going to run into a B result, which is kind of a hefty number of forces. I had pulled a 1 chit, so hey, all right, I was able to get in there, no event, and was able to secure that 1 node, giving me 1/3 of my victory conditions. And then I went ahead and snuck on back here, back to this node here. And once you already have gone through a node, there's a little table you roll, and chances are most times you'll be able to slide back into it no problem. Every once in a while you might run into a little event. So we got into here because this is really the only way to get over across into building 2. So this is where we're starting off at. And we're going to go ahead and advance our turn marker, or reduce our turn marker to how many turns we have left. And we take a look at this. We've got demolition 3. All right, so I need to score 3 successes with demolition skill to be able to advance into there. Now, the nice thing about taking the demolition expert, remember our handy dandy little special demolitions expert, is that if you have a demolitions resource, you can burn the demolitions resource, which I'm going to do, to automatically, well, not automatically, but it will allow you to pass a demolitions check if you draw the correct number. Now, if you look here, here's my little coffee cup. I got my little coffee cup. It's got all the random numbers in it, so we go ahead and mix them up and mix them up and mix them up. And I need anything but a 1. So if I draw anything but a 1, the demolition charge will be successful. And what do we have? We got a 5. Woo! Go ahead and toss that back in there. So we get a 5, which is greater than the 1 for the demolitions check. So that automatically passes us the demolitions check for that node, and we are able to advance into the node. Now, since we have just arrived here, now we have to take a look at the event string. The event string is a 1A. And I actually probably should have kept that 5 out because you don't return the chits to the cup until after each segment is over. So draw a random number, and it's a 3. All right. So 3 is not equal to a 1, so we have no random event. which is great. And now that ends our turn. Let's go ahead and move into the next turn, which reduce our time counter a little bit more. We want to try to get up here into Laboratory 2. Now, if we take a look at this, this is a security or a Science 3. So we need 3 successes on Science. So let's go ahead and take a look at our guys. We'll go ahead and shift the camera a little bit so we can get a good look at the actual individuals. Let's see. Science. I've got 1 guy with Science. All right, so basically whenever you're trying to get successes, you basically draw a number from your cup. Let's go ahead and put our cup out here because we like our coffee cup full of the random numbers. And you take the number that you draw and you put it on the card. Well, we got a 1 for that. Just quick check. Oh, no, we do have, nope, that's security. Not good. All right, so I've only got 1 guy with Science. And I drew a 1. Basically, how you figure out how many successes you get out of, you take the number you drew and divide it by whatever relative skill is. That's the number of successes you get out of it. So basically, if I draw a 1 or a 2, I'm not going to get any skills out of it. A 3 or a 4 is going to give me 1 point, and a 5, and a 6 is going to give me 2 points. So the lower the number you have is actually the better. So that does not bode well for me. So what I'm going to do is I have the option to use an intelligence resource. So basically, we're going to go ahead and use that intelligence resource, and that gives me 2 successes on the node. So we look for a little 2 because we've got our counters spread out all over the place and in no particular order. So we got the 2, and we're going to go ahead and put that on the door, on the node, to prove that that's how many successes we've built up there so far. So that ends our turn. Our chits that we used, we'll go ahead, throw them back in the cup, and now it moves on to the next turn. So we decrease the turn timer again, and we try to make our way into the node if we want to. Now, it should be noted that when you're in a node, you can make attempts at any of adjacent nodes that you want to just by drawing a chit for a unit that has that skill. And I actually probably should have done that last turn, but I didn't, so we will go ahead and do that this turn. So let's go ahead and shift the camera back. Let's try not to make everybody too dizzy from shifting the camera back. All right, so, and one thing I forgot to do is actually pull the commander's skill level. So let's go through this. Let's have our little handy dandy cup here. Let's draw for the squad leader. He got a 4, which is actually what his command skill is. So that'll give us 1 point. Now, command skill works a little bit differently than regular skill points. And let's see, we've got a repair 3 and advance 3, and of course, the science 3 and adjacent nodes. So let's see, the demolition guy can't do anything. The technician, let's see, he can't, oh, he's got repair skill, so let's use the repair skill on the adjacent node. And he pulled a 5. 5 divided by 3 is going to be 1 point something, but you always round down, so that's going to be 1 skill point. Oops, sorry about that. Then the next guy, which is going to be the advance, we pull a 2 for him, which is not going to give us a skill point. And then our scientist, we pulled a plus. Plus is great, because what a plus allows you to do is draw 2 chits and add them together. So we actually end up pulling a 6 for that. 6 divided by 3 is going to give us 2. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then for our assault team with the advanced skill is a 1, which isn't going to give us anything. And then the fire team is going to give us a 4, which is going to give us 1 advance. So let's take a look at the number of successes we managed to accrue and how it is going to work out. Okay, our commander, not going to get into the commander really. Basically, he gives you 1 free level of skill for every command point he has. But let's take a look at the technician. Scored a 5 versus the repair of 3, so that gives 1 success. So we got 1 success on that adjacent node. The shotgunner, 2 divided by 4 doesn't give us anything. The scientist for the science actually gives us, because we got the plus, allowed us to draw 2 chits. 5 plus 1 is 6, divided by 3 is 2, which will actually give us more successes than we need to successfully break the node. So if we want, we will be able to have an option to advance there, but let's take a look at what else we got. The assault team pulled a 1 with an advance of 3-0. The fire team pulled an advance of 4 with a skill of, or pulled a 4 with an advance of 3, which gives us 1 success point. So that 1 success point can be added there. Now those success points stay. Now, if you come back to those nodes later, then that gives you a chance to go ahead and continue working on them. But as it happened, we managed to go ahead and get the three successes we needed for science here. So we go ahead and move into that node. Now, this is a big one. We're looking at a 5 string with a B vent. So, if you notice, we haven't thrown any of our chits back into the cup yet. So, let's go ahead and draw the string. And we got a 4. So 4, which is not greater than 5, so we don't have a vent. And we managed to go ahead and get in that node, so that gives us our second laboratory that we need to inspect. And from here, we just continue playing the game. Hopefully I can get down to the other laboratory. I've got 19 turns left. I think I've got enough time to be able to get down there. I'm getting pretty lucky on not running into any events. And that's basically how the game plays. I will be back with a part 3 to show you how the hive scenarios work, and maybe I will go ahead and pull something to show you how combat works, because that's kind of an important part of the game. All right, everybody. Sorry this went a little bit long. Hopefully future videos will not be quite as long as this. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it.